The return of Mike.
Hey, what's going on, man?
We
I didn't
we
quit.
got two.
I didn't give up yet.
We got two big mics coming back this week, man. Hey, man.
Know, right? Exactly.
Return to the
we still
big
got
Mike.
we still got AP on clock management. I see because
there we go.
Yeah, my bad. My bad.
We about to bring in Norv Turner to help with the.
Nah, man. For real. I need a few assistants for sure. I'm working on that. I'm working on that for sure.
Man.
But
shout out to Russell Wilson, man.
Man, exactly right. Man, shout out to Russell Wilson.
It's crazy. A different environment, different team could really like just make a player look completely different.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Shout out to Michael Penix Jr. too, man.
Yeah, facts.
Hey, we might be seeing him play soon.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Hey, man. Well, hey, man. Look, hey, don't forget to clock in, like the thumbs, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
track. This is one of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, they just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces for my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, but now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scrambled they spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history. I can't explain it.
What's going on? We back. We are back for another edition of Around the Shield, man. We got Big Mike Rader. We got the Severe Rated, of course, myself, PharoahNFL, man. Another episode, hey, we got the return of Mike, man. Hey, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to catch up on. Man, a lot has happened within the last couple weeks. And the Raiders are fresh off a bye week. We got they're going to be playing their first game since they fired Lou Getsy, right? I think this is going to be the first game where Scott Turner is going to be officially calling the plays now. We're going to be playing the Miami Dolphins this week, and hey, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in, like the thumbs, man, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. How's everybody doing, man? Before we get the show started, we got to start off right, man, on a positive note, because you know what? We had some time to think. You know what I mean? We're super negative right now with the Raiders not being the team that we thought they were going to be, or maybe we thought they were going to be this, but we had high hopes. But you know what? Like, how's everybody doing, man?
I'm good. I needed a break from the Raiders for a little bit. I'm back.
I don't blame you. I'm
back. You know, the positivity is back. We on the second win. You know, Do I want them to win any more games? Just look good in the process, man. That's all I'm asking for.
Man, Severe, what's going on with you?
Oh yeah, man. You know what it is, man. It is what it is at this point of the year, man. Hey, we are full SS right now. You know, strategic substitutions. Let the young kids play. Let's do some player evaluations.
Facts.
Let's see what these guys have. Let's start looking toward the future.
Well, you know what? Since Mike, we haven't spoken to you in a few weeks.
Yep.
Let's get into the firing of Lou Getsy. Like, what were your thoughts, man? Did you expect that to happen this early? Because you know, we were kind of all under the impression, like, you know what, if Lou Getsy, we cut ties with Lou Getsy, it's going to happen after the season, right? You know, you don't want to mess. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Hey, we don't want it to affect the main mission is to get that number one pick. Me and Severe have been on it. I know, Mike, you probably on the same page too. We got to get a quarterback. Can't play around. Yeah. But they went ahead and fired Lou Getsy, man. What were your thoughts on that?
It was about damn time. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, man, they should have never hired the dude. Let's just keep it real. He should have never been, you know, we'll get into, you know, that whole, the bad decisions, the bad business decisions, as I like to say, you know, in the months leading up to this point. But, you know, as far as Getsy goes, man, you know, he was never a solid offensive coordinator to me. I mean, the Bears still have problems. I mean, they have organizational problems. But when he was with the Bears, he already showed that he didn't belong there. Mm-hmm. You know, so when he got hired, I was like, this isn't going to work. I think all of us were like, this isn't going to work. And I always left some hope in reserve for him to make this work. And I said the only way it will work is if he's revolutionary with play calling in terms of 12 personnel.
Yep.
And it didn't happen. Now, one thing that did happen, we got Brock Bowers going. He's probably the best tight end in the league right now, right off the jump. That is the silver lining to this whole thing. And, you know, with Scott Turner coming in, I'm hoping that he continues going that route. And, you know, we also see a modified, more enhanced version of the 12 personnel with, you know, Big Mike returning, second Big Mike.
Mm-hmm.
we can kind of bring in that 12 personnel like we were supposed to see. Now we don't have to worry about Devontae Adams crying for the ball.
Right.
It's more of a team effort. So, and on top of trying to get the run game going, maybe that is a second win, a second life to this offense. But at the same time, man, I'm not wanting them to be super successful at this point, man. We're 2-7. Let's just be the truth of the matter is we're 2-7. We
Right.
could win out and go 10-7, but that's not going to solve the quarterback situation.
Exactly.
So, even if we go 8-9, it doesn't help us either because we're going to be picking around 12 or 13 once again, and probably going to miss out on a quarterback of the future. So,
Right.
It's tough. We want to see our team win, but as of right now, we got to start really looking at brass tacks and really looking at the future at this point. And the future is what we don't know because we don't have a quarterback.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and to be fair too, Luke Getsy, he wasn't the problem. He wasn't the problem, but he wasn't the solution either.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's so like because there are a lot of issues going on with this team. We could talk about the offensive line. We could talk about the defense not being as strong as it once was the year.
Yeah.
How they finished the year last year. They can't stop the run. Can't get after the quarterback consistently. Injuries probably had a lot to do with that. We all know Malcolm Kuntz, Christian Wilkins all went down. Obviously, we could talk about more injuries. And then the quarterback situation is just, you know what I mean? If the guys ain't, when they do have time, are they hitting the guy that they're supposed to be hitting back there?
Exactly.
You can argue that Minshew wasn't doing that consistently. It kept showing up week in, week out. And then you got AOC. Is he pushing the ball downfield consistently? He hasn't really proven since he's been in the league. That's been an issue. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like the Raiders are going to have to pick a quarterback this upcoming draft, and I don't think Getsy was going to be a guy that I think should develop that quarterback. I don't want to see that happening because we want consistency back there and stability. And you know what? There's going to be a lot of former head coaches that were OCs that are going to be available this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
Which if the Raiders are playing chess, that can equal stability. You know what I mean? If Severe, you can speak to that real quick.
Yeah, man. I mean, as we kind of talked about before, right, when we were going through this whole hiring process previously with the last offensive coordinator we hired, one of the things we wanted to do was we wanted to hire a guy that was going to be here because at that time we figured we were going to be getting a young quarterback. So we didn't want our young quarterback going through a situation where we hire an offensive coordinator and that guy, does well and he leaves and takes a job as an NFL head coach. And then we're stuck trying to hire a new offensive coordinator. And, our young quarterback is having to learn a whole new system in year two in the NFL. So that's why, like some of the names we were looking at were guys that were former head coaches that maybe fizzled out and maybe will take a few years before they actually got another opportunity of being head coaches. One of the names that was mentioned was, Frank Reich. One of the names I mentioned very early on was Kliff Kingsbury. And then, that hire actually came to fruition and it was until it wasn't. So, I mean, the same situation, this go around, right? A guy like Kevin Stefanski, he's probably going to lose his job. Brian Daboll, he's probably going to lose his job. Clint Kubiak, who is, even though he is a young offensive mind, he's probably not going to be brought back by the Saints. So I'm sure they're going to go in a different direction there as well. So there are going to be some names. Bill O'Brien is a name that got brought up on my live, last week by somebody in the chat. I don't remember who it is. I'm sorry, but that's another name where we saw him. He had success as a quarterback's coach, and he had some success as an offensive coordinator. And then he had some success as a head coach, and he was the last guy that was able to kind of get the best out of Deshaun Watson. So there are plenty of names out there, plenty of different directions we can go. We just have to make sure that the process we take this time is a lot more diligent, a lot more detailed than the process we took last time, especially when we settled on Luke Getsy.
You muted, bro.
You're on mute, bro.
I was saying I hope so too, and we'll get into that Luke Getsy hiring in depth later on because there was like a recent report about how that went down. But before we get into that, man, there's a game this week. The Raiders are coming off a bye. They're playing the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, they've dealt with their share of injuries as well, especially at the quarterback situation. We all know Tua dealt with his injuries, and also they have injuries on the football team. Mike, are you expecting this game? Like, can the Raiders win this game? Is this a winnable game for the Raiders, or do you feel like is it not a good matchup because the Raiders are going to the other side of that coast, East Coast?
Yeah.
They are coming off a bye, so it's like they're coming off a bye, but at the same time it's a time difference. Raiders have to adjust to that, and historically speaking, they haven't really played well on the East Coast. So, I mean, do you think this is a game where they can win coming off a bye?
Well, I'm kind of thinking just right off the jump that the press conference with Antonio Pierce, he brought a lot of energy. Seemed like the bye did him well, right? Mm-hmm. And it seemed like almost like, I guess the theme of the show is a second win. I think we're all kind of having that second win after the bye. And I think that AP has something to play for still. He's being evaluated in real time right now. Now, as far as the game goes, I mean, the last time they were in the East Coast, they won. That's the crazy part. They won.
Yeah.
So, we could say that is historically a problem, but it seems like this team kind of responds to when the odds are stacked against them. Now, you can even go back to when they played the Chiefs. They should have won that game. There was a couple plays here and there that, got away from them. And, we look back and be like, yeah, they had a good shot to beat the Chiefs. Now, as far as this game goes, I think the Dolphins just got too much offensively going on. I think that it's a handful to try to deal with. Achan and Mostert in the backfield on top of those receivers with Tyreek Hill, who's historically torched us. Doesn't matter whether it's the Chiefs or the Dolphins, he torches us. And Jalen Waddle too. It's going to be a big test for these DBs. Jacorian Bennett has answered the call all season, so I'll give him that. He's answered the call, but this is his biggest test. And do you put him on? Tyreek Hill, or do you put him on Waddle? Either way, somebody else is going to get torched. Now, I'm still kind of iffy about Jack Jones on the other side. I know he played his best game last time we saw him, got a pick 6, but I'm still iffy on Jack Jones as far as coverage. He's a little bit erratic for me, and I think just that passing game, especially if Tua is kind of on the up and up and getting into his stride, is what we saw last year. This offense can be real dangerous. Now, it's going to be on the defense to answer the call. Now, the offense has to kind of, if that is the case, they're going to have to show up besides those scripted plays. So I guess the key to this is, what is the offense going to do after those scripted plays? We've seen it all season. They look like a playoff team that those first 15 plays, and then as soon as the game progresses, they just act like they don't know how to play football anymore. So spotlight is once again on the offense. We've been saying this all season. Spotlight's on the offense. The defense is going to have a hard time stopping the Dolphins as far as offense goes. And, we're going to have to rely on the offense just a little bit. So it is a tough matchup. I mean, if I had to give a score prediction, I don't see the Raiders faring out very well in this one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, like last year, the Raiders did play the Dolphins in Miami, and that was a winnable game for Miami. I thought the Raiders they let that game slip away. They could have had a good chance of winning that game last year, but this is a different team from last year. Defense was different. Defense was playing hard, playing tough. I'm not sure. We'll see how they respond after a bye week. It seemed like, and that's another thing that we didn't touch on too, because they had a players meeting last week.
Right.
Mm-hmm. What did you think? I mean, Severe, I don't know if you want to chime in on this as well. Like that, I know we talked about it in the 50-50 show, but that players meeting, a lot of people were talking about like, oh, they're having more. They're having a lot more player meetings more than they have wins, and yada yada yada. Yeah. People just joking on social media. You know what I mean? But what did you think? What did you think of that, Mike? And then Severe, if you could chime in on after that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of along the same lines as everybody else. Like, okay, these team meetings, that's all good and everything, but When they have a last team meeting was like week 2 or 3 or something like that, and we were like, that is a big concern if you're having these type of meetings early on in the season, and for them to kind of like, I get a communication has to happen, certain level of communication has to happen, but it's just showing once again that there's big problems within. Now, did the big problem leave the building? I don't know. It remains to be seen. Maybe the offense turns things around. And we did see, like I said, that press conference with Antonio Pierce on Wednesday. He seemed to bring a level of energy that we saw at the beginning of the season with him. He kind of brought that back, and I don't know if that's, because of the meeting or if it was, you're just fresh off the bye, so you're a little bit fresh, you recharge and things like that. But the level of energy he brought to that press conference seemed like, they're starting from scratch and this is a new season for him.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm going to pass this to Severe. And I seen someone have an interesting take about the players' meeting. And I forgot who it was. I want to give him credit. But he was saying that, something to the effect that, Antonio Pierce is a players' coach.
Yeah.
And his thing is empowering the players and open communication. And, like we shouldn't be surprised by the player meetings. This is going to happen early and often, especially if they're trying to work through some issues. Severe, do you think that makes sense as far as, him being a players coach and him wanting the players to speak up and work through any issues that's happening in the locker room within the team? Can you look at it from that perspective and make it make sense?
I think the first thing is that there were massive changes on the team, right? Like, you can't just fire 80% of your offensive staff and then not address the team as a whole about that. Like that. So that's right. So first off, so that's something that I felt at that point you have to do that. I talked about it if you and your family are living in a certain area and you guys are deciding as a family you're going to move somewhere else. Like, generally you gather the kids, hey, next year you guys are going to be going to different schools. You guys are going to, hey, you're going to live in a different place. You have to make some new friends. You're the parent at that point. You don't have to tell them anything. But, but in order for you to make that change and that adjustment go a little bit more smoothly, you do that, because that's not only going to benefit you in that transition, but that's going to benefit them in that transition. It's not such a shock to their system. So I think that's part of it that goes on. And another thing is that we talked about last year. One of the reasons that we kind of preferred Antonio Pierce over Josh McDaniels is because there's no ego there, right? So he's not a guy he's a guy that's going to be able to stand in front of people and take the slings and the arrows, and also listen to some suggestions, of and get some feedback, and not just pay lip service to what they're saying, but actually internalize it and say, okay, dang, well, what can I do as your leader, as your head coach, that can help us, help us be better, to make things better. Obviously, what we're doing right now isn't working. Like, what are some suggestions you guys have? And even if you don't implement all of them or implement any of them, but just to know, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I can't do this, but I can tweak this, and maybe that'll have the desired outcome that they're looking for. So I'm not full on panic mode yet about it. Like I said, part of it was the entire offensive staff basically being fired. But at this point, you'd rather not be having team meetings right now. But when you're 2-7, I mean, goddamn, like, shit, you're 2-7. Yeah, you gotta figure out something.
Right. So, all right, let's get into the nitty gritty, man. So let's take a look at the injury report coming off a bye. See how it looks like. See if I can put this up here. And for the Raiders, they look pretty healthy overall, but don't like this right here. Nate Hobbs. With the ankle.
We saw him go down with the ankle in the Bengals game, around, I think it was around second quarter or third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So we'll be keeping an eye on this. Obviously, this is the important practice right here, that Friday practice. Andre James is still out, but to be honest with you, like I ain't mad at it. I want to see our boy, even if he comes back healthy. Yeah, if he comes back healthy, I think JPJ should stay at center. Like, there's no reason why. Let the
time is up for Andre James at this point.
Yeah, exactly. The return of Big Mike, Michael Mayer.
Big Mike's back.
Practice in full. He looks like he's ready to go this week. Myers, for the most part, pretty healthy, except for a couple of 2 or 3 players. Cody White here also did not practice.
That could be something.
Now you also got to look at Colton Miller too. Colton Miller's limited. It's an ankle this time. Now all season he's been on that list, so we kind of pass over it without even thinking about it. But he's been on that list all season. Problem is that it was the shoulder, right? Exactly. Yeah. So, the ankle is a problem. And Thayer Munford showed that he's not ready to be at left tackle. So,
oh my God,
yeah. So, if he is going down, that might be a big dent in our offense and what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So there's about 2 to 3 players that haven't practiced. We'll be paying attention to that. Harrison Bryant didn't practice early on in the week, but he's limited on the Thursday practice. So Friday is going to let us know exactly what the condition some of these players are, and hopefully, I think Nate Hobbs is going to be a big one. I think we need to get him back, especially against this, like you mentioned, Mike, this offense. Yeah, you definitely want to have guys in the secondary ready to go. But for the most part, a lot of the key guys are healthy. Max Crosby, he's been on this week in, week out, obviously ever since he had that high ankle sprain, but he's practicing in full. He's good to go. But let's take a look at the Dolphins.
Yeah,
man, they're dealing with some stuff.
Yeah. Terran Armstead, that's the big one.
Calais Campbell, I think he's good to go. They're giving him the veteran.
Man's almost 40 years old, man. Give him some rest.
It was 38.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Armstead, they're calling it rest and knee. So this is something that we can keep an eye on. I don't know if he's not practicing to give him rest, or is he not practicing because of that knee? It could be a combination of both. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's their starting tackle right there. Ken Fuller, starting corner right there. Concussion protocol. Did not practice. Tyreek Hill started the week with not practicing, but he's limited on Thursday. So that would be a big he
trending in the right direction.
Yeah, he's trending in the right direction. So we'll see. We'll see. But man, look, you got Robert Jones, their center, did not practice limited. Jordan Poyer, I think it was a former safety from the Bills.
Yep.
Did not practice on Wednesday, but limited on Thursday. So he's probably dealing with some stuff. They're not listing it on here though. Alec Ingold.
It's our guy right there, man.
Former Raider. That was a guy that I didn't just understand why McDaniels didn't bring back. I know he wanted more of a big black and bruiser, but I'm like, this guy could have been a weepon.
Yeah.
Just because he give you that versatility.
Never let him go.
Exactly. But perfect fit for them, though. Perfect fit for McDaniel, not McDaniels offense. Coming from San Francisco, who they have their own one of probably the best. Fullback in football. But he's limited this week, so I'm sure he probably wants to play this game against his former team.
Yep.
Man, look at everybody on this injury report.
Still scrolling.
I'm still scrolling. Jalen Ramsey. I'm looking at this. I'm kind of looking ahead real quick.
Yeah, Javon Holland.
But he's practicing in full.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, he should be all right. Yeah.
Odell has he been playing?
I don't know. I forgot he was even in the league still.
Yeah.
I was looking at their roster the other day when I realized that Nate Hobbs was hurt, and I was like, dang, they got three. They got Waddle, Hill, and Will Hill hasn't been playing, but they got Waddle, Hill, and Odell. Yeah, those are 3 guys. Even though Odell at this point he's more named than game, but still though he's a guy that he's a savvy veteran. He can hurt you.
Odell got to have like one of the weirdest careers. Someone have an interesting take.
Sling.
They're gonna
all those things.
So,
coordinator had a guy,
but
still though he's a guy that he's a savvy veteran. You know, he can hurt you.
Odell got to have like one of the weirdest careers. Like he's the definition of the modern day social media like star. Like because he literally it's because of that catch. That catch changed his whole. It doesn't matter if he misses.
Life.
Yeah, because if you look at it from a perspective of like, let's say if he didn't have that catch, right? But you're just basing off the talent and what he's done, you know, the production, all that.
It'd be a bust.
A bust? Would he get more opportunity? Would teams take a chance on him? Because he's just injured, always injured. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
But I think teams, when they sign him, they take in consideration that this guy's going to put people people in the seats. Yeah. Like it's going to bring more attention to the team. It's like a money move.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
Yeah, man. But look, Dolphins look beat up going into this matchup. But yeah, man, the Raiders got to be ready because McDaniel is one of the best offensive minds in football. They dealt with their share of injuries. They do have Tua back, so they got their quarterback back. And you mentioned Waddle. Is Waddle back? You got Tyreek Hill. That's going to be a tough matchup for the Raiders secondary. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the injury report. You can see the Raiders are a little bit more healthy because they're coming off a bye. Will be an advantage this week. I hope not. I hope they lose. I hope they lose. It's crazy because I know y'all about to kill me in the chat, but I don't care. I don't care. Y'all can kill me in the chat. Like
it is what it is at this point, bro.
I'm playing chess. I'll take all the heat right now. I'm playing chess. I'm meaning that I have no control of the team, what they do, but I'm just you know, like trying to like visualize and hope that the Raiders draft their quarterback of the future, and that doesn't happen unless they have, you know, a top draft pick. And just to give a real quick view of this, let me go ahead and take this. Raiders right now are picking number 5. The season ended right now. They'd be picking number 5 in the draft. Cleveland is in front of them. Tennessee, Giants. We spoke about this the other day, Severe. Like 3 teams potentially could pick quarterbacks ahead of the Raiders, which in a draft where, you know, if you're thinking about it, there's probably only 2 guys that you probably would want to take this high. We might have to trade up to number 1, and how much is that going to cost? So if and the thing is, look, if you look at the records, 2-8, 2-7, like, man, if the Raiders do this right, they can easily get to this number 1 spot. And we won't have any questions or any doubts of who their guy is. And they'll have their draft picks. We won't have to trade up. I mean, Mike, do you see us, if you had to predict it, where do you have the Raiders picking at the end of the season?
Top five. Top
5 for sure?
Yeah, top 5 for sure. Something tells me we're not going to be 1, and that's going to piss me off at the end of the day. That's just my gut feeling.
Antonio Pierce is going to have him. He's going to try to get. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we'll end up beating the Jaguars or something and like just mess up our chances. But you know, here's the truth of the matter, right? We messed around and beat Miami this week. We're at 3-6. I mean, 7, and now we're looking at, you know, we're 10 or 11. So that's where we're at if we win this game. So is that in our best interest for the future? Definitely not. But if Antonio Pierce wants to keep his job, which I think he wants to do, he's gonna have to win. That's the dilemma right now. So that's why you're getting a 100% effort from AP. And you know, you also got to keep in mind these players. You know, they are gonna fight for their guy. This is the guy that they fought for to become a head coach. They don't care about draft picks. So, you know, it's us as the fans that care about the draft picks, but these guys want to go out and win some games. So we also got to keep that in mind. They, you know, they mess around and make a run, then we're picking in the middle of the pack, and now we're not getting a quarterback. But I don't think they care because there's nobody on that current team that, you know, at quarterback that is going to be there next year, and that's all they're worried about is what's going on in that building right now. So that's the dilemma. The fans want us, you know, most of us don't want we don't want any more wins, but the players, the guys that are actually doing the job, they're going to go out there and play 100%. So that's the dilemma right now where we're at.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And well, let's do something different because it's kind of the keys to the game. Like we do this week in, week out, every game, and obviously at this point, like we're all kind of like hoping that the Raiders get that top draft pick. Let's do it this way. Severe, like, what are you looking for in this game against the Dolphins? Like, what are you trying to see? Like, if you can give us a couple things, one or two things.
So the main thing I want to see, I want to see how that 12 personnel looks with Mike, the other Big Mike, the less melanated Big Mike, and Brock Bowers. I want to see how that looks. I want to see progression from Jackson Powers Johnson. See how he deals with success. Right, he had a very good game one. At center. I want to see him build off of that and continue to have those good games and see what our offensive line looks like. I know like Parham's supposed to be coming back. What do we do at left guard? Because, we don't have a white hair over there. JPJ obviously is not going to be playing there. So do we swap and put Meredith over there or what do we do at that spot? And then I want to see what the offense looks like with Scott Turner. I mean, I'm just interested to see what he's able to do, especially in the run game. Joe Philbin is a guy that's going to be taking over as offensive line coach. He's more of an inside zone guy and not as much of an outside zone guy. So want to see, like, does that make a difference for offensive linemen? Does that make a difference for Zamir? Does it make a difference for Madison? Kind of see how that plays out. And then I want to see what the Dolphins do to try to slow Brock Bowers down. They have guys like Javon Holland. They have Jalen Ramsey. Do they do that? Do they put Jalen Ramsey on Brock Bowers and say somebody else is going to beat us? Do they stick Javon Holland on them? And I want to see how Brock responds to some of the better defensive backs in the league. Basically singling them out and saying, you know what, we got you. And we're out here to stop you. So, I mean, those are some of the things I'm going to be looking at. I'm also looking for a loss. But other than that, those are
good game, but loss. I got you.
Yes.
Mike, like, what do you want to see at this game?
20 targets between two tight ends. I need to see 20 targets.
Yeah.
If that means that's 15 for Brock Bowers and 5 for Big Mike, that's what needs to happen. I want to see the run game get started. We haven't seen it all season. Yep. I want to see JPJ versus Calais Campbell. How does he hold against a future Hall of Famer at some point? Yeah. Because you could say that Calais Campbell's up there. He's in that Hall of Fame realm. Maybe not. Definitely not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's on that level, right? Yeah. I want to see how he fares versus a guy like that. Pretty much the youth movement. That's what I want to see. DJ Glaze, if he's going to play, let's see what he does. DeCamerion Richardson, he might be getting some burn, because Nate Hobbs is going to be out. I don't know who's going to be at the slot, but if there's some moving pieces, I would like to see DCam out there and see what he has, what he's bringing to the table. Evaluation of the youngsters basically is what I want to see. Right. And it has to look good. I want to see it look good. You don't necessarily have to win for it to look good. And that's really what it comes down to. So let's see the youth movement and let's see them gain those calluses in this game and get some battle scars in.
Facts, man. I agree with all of y'all, man. Like at the end of the day, like the Raiders aren't, like in order for them to make the playoffs, they have to win at 9 straight.
We have to win out. Yeah,
win out. You know what I mean? To have a chance, which is like, come on, at this point, like I just right now I'm looking forward to when I'm watching these games. I'm looking, like you mentioned, the youth movement. I want to see some of these guys play a little bit more. I want to see the Dylan Lobbies get a more of an opportunity. I understand, like I've mentioned this in the past, but like, I was frustrated with him fumbling the ball. But hey, at this point, let him get it out of his system. Figure out if this is a guy that you want to keep for the future. If he's not that good, then I think either way they're going to upgrade that running back room. But hey, it doesn't hurt to play some of these young guys and see what you have. Obviously, I want to see what Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers look. But I'm interested on how it's going to look under Scott Turner, how the offense is going to be called under Scott Turner. The offense is not going to change, but with Turner and Norv in the building, and I want to see what that's going to look like. And you mentioned something that I was thinking about too, is the run game, because it seems like Zamir is going to get back into the fold now, and I think they're going to possibly maybe play more to his strength. They fired James Craig, the offensive line coach, so it's kind of I'm forgetting who got the promotion. I think Joe Philbin
Joe Philbin, yeah.
So it's going to be interesting how's that's going to look, how to when we run the ball and how we're going to block it up for guys like Zamir, who at this point he is what he is. We know what he's good at. He just doesn't fit the zone blocking scheme. It's just not going to work out. So I want to see how they incorporate him into the offense and how it's going to look like when we run the football. Yeah, man. As far as Minshew, I mean, like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not really expecting to. Like, I don't know what I already seen what I needed to see. Like, it's just, it is what it is. But,
Look,
but yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I will say we got 8 more games. I need 8 more thank you guys from Shedeur Sanders.
Yes, sir. That's a fact.
No, for real. Facts. But we'll see, man. Look, it's at the end of the day, like, it's hard for me to be like, oh, I want the Raiders to lose, but like, man, like, it's just hey, look, we're living through a situation where we did not pick a quarterback. When we were supposed to pick a quarterback, we did not pick a quarterback, and look how the seasons unfold. I know Devontae Adams, he chose going to the Jets, but he could have stayed on this team. He could have, it could have been a whole different scenario. Michael Penix back there dropping back, who's going to play this week, possibly. There's a good chance from what we're hearing. He's pointing in the direction of it playing, so we're going to see how he looks on that team, on that offense with the weapons they have. So we're going to see that. And if he balls out, I'm just going to be like, I might cry.
That Michael Penix Kliff Kingsbury combo would have went crazy, bro.
Oh my God, that'd have been so crazy, man.
Man.
But
you know what? Let's actually
in the show. We done.
No, for real. Facts. But I guess that's a good segue. You mentioned Kliff Kingsbury. And let's just move it along, man. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. Like the thumbs, man. We appreciate the support, man. Can't do it without y'all. But around the nation, we're going to get into a few things that's been talked about around Raider Nation. And I think one of the things that kind of popped out was the fact that, Kliff Kingsbury and how that went down and the reason why. Because we heard different reasons. We heard that, Magic Johnson called in last minute and convinced them and yada, yada, or Kliff had cold feet. We heard numerous things, but Albert Breer pretty much brought it up in a recent piece that he wrote, and he pretty much stated that the Raiders, the reason why how the situation went down the way it did, and the Raiders had to go with Getsy instead of Kliff, because if you guys remember, it was all but a done deal pretty much. Like Kliff, like if you look all around SportsCenter, ESPN, all these major media outlets, even from the beat writers, they're all like, oh, it's official. Kliff Kingsbury is going to be the new offensive coordinator for the Raiders.
Yep. But
then the presser didn't happen. There was no scheduled presser. 3 days pass. We find out on a Saturday that the deal fell through. The offer is rescinded or whatever the case may be. And the Kliff heads to the Commanders, and he's the new OC. The rest is history. But the reason what they're saying, Albert Breer and a lot of insiders also co-signing this, they're saying that the offer was it was contractual. So the Raiders didn't want to agree to a third year. Now, when I heard this, I'm just like, man, like the Raiders are always on the bad end on these types of situations. And why are they doing this themselves? And I want to know if this is if this is due to them not agreeing to that third year. Who is this on? Is this on Mark? Is this on Telesco? I don't think this is on AP, because I don't think he does the contract stuff. I think he just, hey, this is the guy that I want, and then whoever is negotiating the contract, that's where who do you think this is on, Severe?
So
If
I
true,
think
if true.
So I think all the things that you mentioned, I think all those things played a factor in Telesco, not Telesco, and Kliff Kingsbury not coming here. I do think that once there was a little bit of daylight between us and him in terms of contract, I do believe Magic Johnson put in the call. I do believe that maybe he started looking at the roster, start looking at the fact that we might not be able to get a quarterback. That probably gave him some cold feet. And I do think that contract, I do think that played a big part in it as well. And there are three people that are that are to blame, or who share blame in it, right? I definitely Telesco. At that point, he's a GM. Generally, the GM is the person that's in charge of hiring the coaches and hiring the coordinators. Mark Davis, because he's a guy that signs the checks. So maybe there was some apprehension on the part of Tom and the other person I'm going to bring up in terms of that contract. Then it's that third guy, and it's the guy. It's one of the reasons why people felt okay when we hired Tom Telesco, because Tom Telesco had handled contracts and the cap so horribly when he was with the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. Is that we have a cap guy here. We had a guy who's in charge of doing it, and his name escapes me right now. But we already had a guy in place who's been doing all of our contracts, who's been handling all that stuff, and he's been doing a damn good job recently. The Raiders cap has been in very good standing for a while now, and his name escapes me. But I think all of those guys, they have some blame in it, because I'm sure even though like the coach's contract doesn't count against the cap, that other guy he's still the guy that's handling contracts, so he's still part of that process. So I think all of them share some blame in it.
Nah, I hear you. I think it's hard for me to blame the outside. It's hard for me to blame Kliff and everybody else when this happens consistently. Maybe different situation, maybe different scenario, but why are the Raiders always in these types of situations where like what happened? Like, he's not the OC. I thought it was official. Like, why is that? You don't ever see this with other teams.
I'm not blaming Kliff. I mean, Kliff. I mean,
well,
Kliff
I'm just saying
Kliff want to go. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Mike, if you want to speak to this real quick, like, do you think that this is a situation where the Raiders dropped the ball?
Yeah, and the blame goes 100% on Mark Davis, saying it has to. He's the final say. He's the bottom line. Now, the fact that this happens a lot. What's the common denominator?
Yeah.
That's how I see it in this situation. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, Mark Davis needs to sell the team. I'm not saying that, but he is at fault for this situation just because he's the final say, and he should know, hey, this has happened a lot. You got to have some kind of wherewithal. Like, all right, my gut feeling already tells me that this is our guy that we need to bring in as our OC. So let me stand on business about that and keep him around. 3 years, sure. Now, another thing that people maybe aren't considering, and we haven't mentioned, is maybe it doesn't line up what's going on with Antonio Pierce. We didn't know his, details of his contract. We were suspecting that it was a 3-year deal, but if it wasn't that 3-year deal, then maybe that was the reason why he didn't get that third year. Maybe Antonio Pierce is, for sure concrete. He has a 2-year deal. So if you're going to sign an OC for 3 years and your head coach for 2, it doesn't line up. So maybe that's what was going on. But I think also what was in consideration 100% is that they didn't have location and guidance, not guidance, but like they didn't have a blueprint on what they're going to do at the quarterback position. I think that mattered to Kliff Kingsbury. And he saw over in Washington, Jaden Daniels is going to be the guy. So it was an easy decision. That's what I think happened. If you had to listen to my gut feeling, he saw that the grass was a little bit greener over in Washington, as far as quarterback. And it turns out to be so. I mean, they're 7-3. they're going to probably make the playoffs this year. Jaden Daniels is playing like, MVP contender, and the rest is history.
Yeah. No, you can't be mad at Kliff. He made a great decision. Great decision. The way the Raiders attacked the quarterback situation, man, we talked about it earlier. Like, just look at how the Steelers attacked the quarterback situation compared to the Raiders. They went after a former Super Bowl winning quarterback and a former first-round quarterback and let the best man win. And look at them now. You know what I mean? Like, kind of similar teams in some ways. Like, they're trying to hang their hat on defense. They're trying to run the football. They're trying to – obviously, the Steelers are doing a way better job than what the Raiders are doing, but you could tell the Raiders want to play that style of football. And they did a terrible job of attacking that quarterback. Because, look, if you just look at the Raiders quarterback room, you got a career backup and a fourth-round rookie QB who can't move. You know what I'm saying? So it's like – it's frustrating even thinking about, but yeah, man. Let us know. Let us know in the chat.
Tom Delaney is the guy.
Tom Delaney. Yeah, he's been with the team for a minute. He's been with them for a minute.
For a while. Yeah, he's been the guy that's been handling their contract. He's been doing a damn good job. Well, let's say damn good job, but he's good. He's good with the cap.
He was with them since even with McKenzie. Them days with McKenzie, right?
Yeah.
Tom Delaney. Okay. Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? And another thing we also got to mention, man, is that does also matter. Like you said, we set this off air. Bringing in an OC, a different type of OC, also kind of changes your plan also on what you're gonna do. In the draft,
right?
So who knows? Maybe we mentioned it. I just mentioned it earlier. That Michael Penix and Kliff Kingsbury combination. Say we had Kliff Kingsbury, got that third year. Say this is true, right? You got that third year. The Raiders are going to be a little bit more aggressive in trying to move up. Now, it worked out for us. We got Brock Bowers. I'm not complaining there. Yeah. But if your goal, 100%, first goal was to locate the quarterback, then you failed on that. And that's because probably you didn't have the right OC in the building.
Yeah. Like having Kliff Kingsbury probably could have affected the offseason. Maybe he could have been in that front office like, hey, look, Minshew, there's nothing I can do with that. We need to get someone else with a little bit more talent that fits my offense and what I like to do, and I don't think Minshew does that. So if Minshew's the guy that we have to depend on to win football games in this offense, he's not going to be the guy. Maybe the Raiders target a different quarterback in free agency. Maybe it's Russell Wilson. Maybe it's somebody else. Who knows? Maybe they end up. It's hard. It's hard to say that. But
I don't agree with that because why? Because who did Gardner Minshew have his most success in college playing for? Mike Leach. Who was Kliff Kingsbury an offensive coordinator for? Mike Leach. What system is that? The air raid system. What system did he run at Texas Tech and in Washington State? The air raid system. So if anything, you could speculate that Gardner Minshew was targeted initially because of Kliff Kingsbury, and then that fell through, and then they probably didn't have no other fallback plan after that. Like, okay, well, damn.
I didn't think of that.
So what you're saying, Severe, is that Kliff would have been fired, not Luke Getsy at this time.
No. I think Mitch. I think he might have been able to make it work. I think if he would have implemented the air raid system, I think he might have been able to have more success. I think the air raid system might have been better.
Hey, it's crazy how like two different scenarios. The big difference is the Commanders have a quarterback. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, when you don't have a quarterback, everything looks bad. Like it looks.
Yeah.
It makes it wouldn't even look. I wouldn't say as bad, but everything seems harder. You know what I mean? Just because everything has to work. You got to have great defense. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to call the game right. It's just so many things have to go right where the quarterback can come in and probably hide some weaknesses on the team. But because I know Mike, you mentioned during the offseason, I remember you were like there's a way of winning football games without a quarterback. The problem is with this team, they're not that team. They're not that team.
The paths become very narrow. There's it's very narrow when you don't have a quarterback. When you got a quarterback, that's like, okay, I can go this way, I can go this way, I can do this or that. When you don't got a quarterback, man, It's narrow.
Look at the Chiefs, man. They 8-0 and they look like complete ass. So
Man,
yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
man. So
Well, let's stick into Around the Nation. John Gruden is in the news. He signed a multi-year deal with Barstool Sports, so he's finding a way to stay relevant and being in front of people. And I couldn't find a clip. There was a clip, though, recently where he was asked about, like, coaching, and he was pretty, like, straightforward. It was like, I'm not done. I'll be back.
Exactly.
Like I'm not done. So when he says it like that, I mean, do y'all see a scenario where he comes back and coaches for the Raiders? Because I'm not gonna lie, like, Mark love affair with John Gruden is wild, bro. I could see him doing it because he paid all that money to give him a 10-year contract, and it's not like Mark fired him. The way it ended was because Mark was forced to do it because if y'all remember the whole situation with the text messages and the emails, it was released on a Friday, and he ended up coaching the game, and there was no word that and they lost against the Bears, and there was no word that John was going to get fired, and then on Monday more stuff came out, so it was almost like, hey, if you don't fire him, we're going to keep releasing some more of this stuff. That's why, like, the whole situation was wild, but it is what it is, man. But Mike, I'll just start with you. What do you think? John coming back to the Raiders, is that even a possibility? Can you see it happening?
Look, man, we love our chat, man. We love the people that listen to us. You guys are some of the smartest Raider fans, the most diehard Raider fans. But there is a small group out there that just keep on wanting to bring back old relics. We already did it with Norv Turner. Like, how much more do we got to keep doing this, man? Are we going to keep rotating a bunch of old guys? Like, let's bring John Gruden in for a third time. Let's bring in Tom Cable for a third time. Let's bring in Hugh Jackson for a second time. Like, how many times we're going to have to do this before we get it right?
Right.
That is a big fat no with John Gruden. We've seen it twice. It didn't work out. He got fired under some, shady circumstances. I'll give him that. But you could argue that it was on the up and up before he got fired. You could say that he made Derek Carr look the best he's ever looked. He's never going to look that good again. I'll say that. But that time is up now. We got to start looking towards the future.
Right.
And it says it, the greatness in the Raiders is the future. So we got to start looking at the damn future.
Right.
Let's start doing it.
Right.
So stop trying to bring in these old relics, just because we had just a little speck of success, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We need to stop doing that, man. That is over. We need to start fresh. We need some new guys in here, some new blood, and start making new traditions. No to John Gruden, man.
Facts. 100%. I agree, man. Severe, man. Where you at with it?
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. But no, that like you said, you can never say never, just because Mark has such an affinity for John Gruden and such a trust of him as a football guy. He gave him a 10-year deal, basically let him be de facto GM and head coach. It was so much trust there between him, and so much so much respect that, and adoration that Mark Davis has for John Gruden. Even when all of that stuff happened, right? He didn't fire John Gruden. John Gruden resigned, and it was one of those situations where, you know what? Hey, I got to let you go, John. The league is basically pressuring me to let you go, but I don't want to fire you. So I need you to resign your post. Just so it won't be out there that you got fired. Like, that's how much respect he has for John Gruden. So I wouldn't put it past him. I don't think it's happening. But what could happen, interesting. We talk about Derek Carr, right? Like what you call it? What you call is not an option right now, right? Jack Del Rio is not an option in New Orleans, but John Gruden is an option in New Orleans. Who's the last person to get something out of Derek Carr? John Gruden. Nah, Dennis Allen is gone. I doubt if they elevate Clint Kubiak. They didn't even make him interim, right? They made Rizzi the interim. So I doubt if they have that kind of trust in Kubiak yet. Who did they have last year in Saints camp working with Derek Carr? John Gruden. So, I think the Derek Carr experiment might be over for them. I don't know what kind of contractual obligations they have in terms of guaranteed money and what kind of dead cap that's going to. I know they're in cap hell right now, so I don't know what releasing Derek Carr would do to their financial situations. But if they're trying to get the best out of Derek Carr for these 1 or 2 more years, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's
and Mickey Loomis has that kind of power to do it too.
Yeah.
Man, I and a lot of Saints fans feel like they want him gone as well as Derek Carr gone.
They do.
It's just that whole situation. Yeah, it's tough. And then the cap, they're in cap hell, and they figure out a way
it's
every
a real
year.
bad situation over there.
Yeah, it's just bad situation overall. It kind of reminds me of, as far as the cap, is when the Raiders, when Al Davis died and we didn't have a first round pick and we're in cap hell, like literally like we're a bad team and we didn't have no cap space. And so we couldn't even be aggressive in free agency. We didn't even have a first round pick. So like literally we knew without a doubt that the next following season was going to be terrible. Like there's no way, because we couldn't upgrade seriously. We couldn't upgrade a team. But yeah, John Gruden go to the Saints. I would have said that maybe last offseason, but this offseason, I'm not sure. If they hire John Gruden, it's probably going to be more about them believing in John Gruden than them believing John Gruden and Derek Carr can work. And I can't see Derek Carr getting. I think Derek Carr is on his way out.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
the only reason that they wouldn't be is because I don't know what that does to their cap in terms of dead cap hit. They may need to keep him, and they may need to ask them to like restructure just for the cap implications. So and like you said, that it is a lot like that Raiders team. I think that was the Tony Bergstrom draft. We took Tony Bergstrom in the 3rd round. That was like the first pick of the Reggie McKenzie era. Was guard Tony Bergstrom. So man, those are those like I said, like y'all think it's bad now. Oh, y'all Raider fans ain't seen it yet. Y'all have not seen bad.
Y'all haven't.
We didn't have a Max Crosby back then. We didn't have a Nate Hobbs. We didn't have a Brock Bowers, right?
That post Super Bowl appearance, post Super Bowl in San Diego against the Tampa Bay appearance. After that, it was downhill for the next I don't know how many seasons. And when I
04 to 09 was the worst, bro.
But that's how bad it is. It's not like we're making playoff appearances after that stretch. It was just so bad. Like you said, 04 to
09.
Until we got Jason Campbell and Hugh Jackson and
Tom Cable started it, and then Hugh Jackson came on as offensive coordinator, and
the rest is history. Oh man, that was tough. That was tough to watch back then. But just to move it along, man. I can't. You know what? Just being a Raider fan is tough, man. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We the toughest fans,
man. Not for the faint of heart,
for sure. The toughest fans. We've seen so much. I mean, there's probably other fans that can probably relate. Jets fans. I give it to them. Raider East. I'll call them Raider East. Yeah. Raider East.
Bears fans.
But you know what the difference is between
the Browns. It's the Browns fans have to. Browns fans. I give it to them hands down because they watched the Browns leave and then win the Super Bowl as another franchise.
Yeah. Oh man. But you know what the difference is between us and most of these teams that are constantly in the basement. It's we were once a team that was the elite. We were highly regarded. At some point,
of the decade.
We have a history that's highly regarded, and now we look at that and then we turn around and look at what's been going on for the last 20 years. That's such a drop off, man. Yeah. There are Raider fans who are 50, 60 years old that remember us winning Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not any other team that's really like that right now. The Lions have been historically bad for a long time. Yeah. Their better days are now.
Exactly.
The Browns historically been bad. They're used to it at this point. Yeah, they saw their team leave, and but they've been bad for a long time. They had a run in the 80s for a little bit, but that was about it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
With us, we saw the top of the mountaintop, and then we, now we're where we are now for the last 20 years. So it's hard. It's hard for us.
No, you're right, man. I think the Raiders' greatest edge back in the day was Al Davis. Having an owner that knew the game like that and could he was just ahead of the game, and how obviously the Raiders, their prime was probably 60s, 70s, 80s, right? But what happened was, when you have an owner with that much power and that was so involved with the team, where was the structure? You know what I mean? Yeah. And as time went on, as he got older, and then obviously he passed away, it was just like, oh, what do we do now? That's what I'll give like Mark credit, like, because it's like he basically had to build everything from the ground up. He had to replace certain like things within the building that were like, what? They're still doing this? You know what I mean? They're still doing type.
Al Davis,
what is that?
Al Davis was signing checks. He was signing checks.
He was signing checks like, you know what I mean? Like, they set up direct deposit like as soon as
That was revolutionary, bro. That's crazy, right? Imagine that, man. So like, I know you, and I give Mark Davis a lot of, and it's tough, man. It's tough. He's not absolved of some of the blame in here. But it is difficult in this climate, man, especially in this, because like he's coming into a climate where the league does not like the Raiders. No, there's certain owners that respected Al Davis, but also a lot of owners that hated Al Davis just because he was a malcontent and he did go against the grain. He was a renegade and he didn't make things easy for the other owners or for the league. So he's coming into that environment. Then you also look at it like nobody's like, Al Davis, not like Al was grooming him to be like the guy, like, I'm gonna teach you everything I know. Like Al was focused on like watching film and, like eating cold McDonald's cheeseburgers at 4 a.m. He wasn't grooming Mark to take over the franchise. So when Mark got it, it's just like, ain't no manual to do this. It's no like, no playbook for this. You kind of got to learn on the fly. And he's made he's made a share of his mistakes. He's made more than a share of mistakes. But one thing I would say is that, it's always an effort of trying to advance the Raiders and make the Raiders the best possible franchise they can be. And so at least we have that aspect where I believe his heart is in the right place. I think he always believes he's doing what's best for the team. He just needs to find the person. He needs to identify the person that can do that and let them run it. And maybe he thinks that's Tom Brady. Maybe that's why he wanted Tom Brady so much. And that's the only thing I could think of. Like, why would you do all of this to bring Tom Brady into your organization unless it was to basically say, like, you're not the president of football operations, but essentially you're the shadow president of football operations.
You know what I would really respect if Mark went out and hired a president of football operations, someone that supersedes a GM and coach, like someone so the coach's boss is the GM, the GM's boss is the president of football operations, and obviously the president of football operations has to report to Mark and Tom Brady. You know what I mean? That's Tom Brady come in and I would like that dynamic. Now you have like a hierarchy. Yeah.
But maybe that's what he did already. But maybe that's what because you think about it like this: who was involved in all of these situations? Who was involved in hiring AP? Who was involved in hiring Tom Telesco? Who was there? Richard Seymour. Who came in at the same time as owner, even though it was to a much smaller degree? Who came in the same time as an owner along with Tom Brady? Richard Seymour. I'm sure Richard Seymour was the eyes and the ears and the mouthpiece, pause if necessary, for Tom Brady in these interviews, right? Like, I'm sure he was the one. Like, if Richard Seymour was saying something, it probably came from Tom Brady. And, so he was, even though at that point, Tom Brady couldn't have really any real influence on it, especially since he was still going through that process of trying to buy part of the team. I'm sure everything he was doing, anything that, especially if it involved the Raiders, it was going to be scrutinized to the umpteenth degree. So what do? You send in your boy. He's getting involved with it. That way there's that level of separation where you can't say I'm involved, but he's involved. So You know, and all of this was happening while the whole league was trying to figure out whether Tom Brady was going to be approved after Mark Davis had already sold him a portion of the team at an extreme discount. Why does he do that? Why does he do that? Because he wants Tom Brady in the building. Why do you want Tom Brady in the building if it's not to have him have some kind of influence on this team? So I believe, and we heard it, because you think about it. He said he wanted to hire a president of football operations. He said that was what he wanted to do. Right around that same time, what did he do? He sold the team to Tom Brady at an extreme discount. That I don't think that's coincidental. That's not coincidental. So I think there's a situation where that's what he wants. He wants Tom Brady to play that role, but he, you know, like, I don't think he's going to hire somebody officially in that capacity. But I think that's essentially what Tom Brady's going to be doing.
Nah, hey, I hope Tom Brady is the next whoever. I hope he's the guy that we will be able to get the Raiders back on the map. But the thing is that, like, what I like about structure and having an official position, there's a level of accountability. You know what I mean? I just feel like, you know, we won't know really if Tom Brady was the guy to. Well, we might hear reports or rumors because he's the minority owner. Like, there's nothing to really connect him and say that, oh, that was a Tom Brady call right there. Yeah. But you understand what I'm saying? So,
but you still don't know. I mean, that's the thing, though. You still don't, because we still don't, like, we hear reports. We heard the reports that, you know, like, certain players were drafted by, even when we had a GM and a head coach. Oh, this player was drafted by the GM, but this was drafted by the head coach. Like, it's never going to be any. It's always going to be an opaque process. We're never going to have any true insight in it outside of rumblings and reports, and this was being said in the whispers. And that would be the same thing with Tom Brady. We'll still hear those same whispers. Know who will have accountability at the end of the day? The majority owner still owns everything. So if Tom Brady isn't working out, that's when you can say, you know what, I don't have to fire a president of football operations. You can remain minority owner. I'll just hire somebody in this official capacity, and you don't have to be involved anymore.
Well, even your example, like, of QB and coach, right? Like, we know that, like, okay, let's talk about the current QB and not QB and coach. I mean the coach and GM. Like, we know that Telesco is in charge of bringing players to the roster. Telesco is going to be making the draft picks. Telesco is going to be signing the players. AP might be in the room. He might be in the conversation. He might be asking for certain players or asking for help. But Telesco is going to have final say on who is officially going to be signed or drafted. That's the dynamic with this team. Now, with, let's say, for example, John Gruden and Mike Mayock, we knew the dynamic. You know, It wasn't said out loud, but when you give a coach a 10-year deal, $100 million, and then he hires Mike Mayock, you already know the power dynamic. It's John Gruden. You know what I'm saying?
But what did we hear at those times, right? Well, what were people saying? Oh, the first 2 rounds, that's John Gruden. Yeah. And then Mike, but there was nothing that said for sure that was a setup. That was all speculation, because people project onto what the person, whether they like the person or dislike the person, they project whatever negatives or positives come from those people. So people thought, hey, Mike Mayock, he's a smart football guy. John Gruden, he's a overzealous coach that wants to be too involved. So he's taking over the first 2 rounds. And these good picks, this Arden Key and this Maurice Hurst, that's not John Gruden. That was Reggie McKenzie. Or this Nate Hobbs and this Max Crosby, that's not John Gruden. That has to be Mike Mayock. So, you know, that's what they do. And they're going to do the same thing now. I mean, you know, they're going to do the same thing now.
But whether it's true or not, you're right.
Yeah. That when you get to the nitty gritty on certain details, obviously we're not going to know every little detail on how everything went down. But when you have an understanding of the power dynamic, you know, like, oh, okay, he had final say. He's going to okay it. Mike Mayock, he's the yes man. He has to do what John Gruden says. If we're being honest, like, and if you heard Mike Mayock talk about, you know, his relationship with John and how the dynamic between them, head coach and GM, when he was GM when he was the GM of the team, it was like, man, like it was crazy, you know, and even Mark Davis mentioned it, like one of the reasons why he hired Ziegler and McDaniels at the same time, he wanted to make sure that they were cool with each other. Like there was a synergy. That was the key word that he was talking about. There was synergy because he mentioned the presser, like he confirmed it by saying like, yeah, you know, he loved John and Mike Mayock, but there was a little bit of like friction. Back and forth, a little friction.
You need that though. You need that. You need some friction. You don't want them to be, because like I think they were at probably opposite ends of the spectrum. Maybe it was way too much with John Gruden and Mike Mayock and not enough with Dave Ziegler. But even with John Gruden, because we heard like Mike Mayock talking about John Gruden, he'd be wanting like, oh, we gotta move up, we gotta trade up for this guy. And Mike Mayock's like, oh, bro, chill. We're gonna let the board fall where it's going. And John Gruden be in there trying to like, oh man, we gotta move up. We gotta get on the phones, make a trade. And Mike Mayock had to be like, yo, man, chill out. I got this. You do your thing. I'm doing my GM thing right now, and and that's a level of that obviously Dave Ziegler didn't have, right? Or he didn't feel comfortable doing it because we hear about some of the stories where it was situations where he wanted to make moves and he didn't make moves. So I mean, like I think there needs to be some friction. I think that's why AP and Tom Telesco, there's a clear line where it's like, yo, you're the GM, you're the head coach, you each have your responsibilities, but you guys need to work together to make it work.
But even with Ziegler and McDaniels, right? The dynamic between them was McDaniels was who Mark Davis wanted, and Dave Ziegler was just like, okay, you get along with him, okay, we're gonna bring Dave Ziegler because you mentioned in the past, you said like the Colts assistant GM was a guy that Mark like, and I was kind of leaning towards like, hey, I like Ed Dodds, I like that the Raider connection that he has, I like his background, and obviously he came from the part of the scouting for the Legion of Boom with the Seattle Seahawks and the Colts, and obviously what they do. But that being said, hey, look, we can talk about this left and right. We've been talking this. Hey, since you've been gone, Mike, this has been the conversation. Like Mark.
We looking for answers, bro. That's really what it is, man.
No, facts. But there's another conversation happening. Obviously we're looking for a quarterback. We're looking for a quarterback in this upcoming draft. That's like, to no surprise. And one of those quarterbacks is Shedeur Sanders. Yep. And Shedeur, man, I feel like he's trying his hardest to just – I think he's trying to speak it into existence. Yeah. He got some shoes. The other day there was a clip of him with some shoes. It was like black and gray, you know what I mean? And he just says, shout out Raiders. Yeah. And then every game that the Raiders lose, he says, thank you, God, something to that effect there. Yeah. He said it last Sunday, but a lot of the teams that were ahead of the Raiders in the tankathon, we're looking at the records, they lost. So people were connecting the dots there. Maybe they're doing too much there. But that being said, there's a rumor out here in the social media streets that say that Deion Sanders and Shedeur are a package deal for an NFL team. Yeah. Mike, can you see that happening?
I can see that. Now, if you pay attention to anything that's going on in college football, Deion Sanders' stock is rising, right? His team is 7-2. They're in the college football playoff race. They win out. They might make the playoff and win the Big 12. Deion Sanders as a coach, his stock is rising. But I will say this, as far as Deion Sanders being a coach in the NFL, the only way that I can see that is if it's a package deal and he goes to the Cowboys. Yeah. That's the only way I can see that. I don't see it happening with the Raiders. I think they still got hope in Antonio Pierce. Now, if that is true, a package deal, Deion Sanders is not necessarily making him a head coach. Maybe he's in the building. Maybe he's around, him and Tom Brady hanging out or whatever, grooming his son, who's going to be our quarterback of the future. Now, I will say this. The Deons that are going to be coming out in silver and black, the shoes, bro, it's gonna go hard, bro. I'm getting every
Man.
pair. I'm
Man.
getting every pair. I'm gonna tell you that right
Definitely.
now. The merch that's gonna come out, the Dion stuff that's gonna come out if he comes to the Raiders is gonna hit
Yeah.
the streets like
Oh,
crazy, bro.
for sure.
I'm just saying.
For sure.
But this doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be a head coach if it is a package deal. Now, the only way I see him being a package deal head coach quarterback, like I said, is with the Cowboys. That's the only way I can see that happening because Jerry Jones is desperate. He's kind of on his twilight. I mean, I hate to say it, of his life. You know, he's got more behind him than he does ahead of him. And the Cowboys are definitely free falling at this point. So I can see him making that kind of move for publicity purposes. So that's the only way I see that. But Shador, if he does become a Raider, that means Deion Sanders as a father, you know, is going to be in the building. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. A lot of people say he's bringing drama, things like that. I don't think that's the case. Deion Sanders wants the best for his son, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And shoot, you know, maybe he persuades to bring somebody else. Maybe we make a super splash move, and then we give up some first round picks for the 26th draft, and then we get his favorite receiver Travis Hunter in the building too. So, you know, like. He also said in an interview, I don't know what where it was. I heard in the interview that, hey, he's going to be looking out for his son, but he's also looking out for Travis Hunter as well. So that package deal could be beneficial to us, not necessarily as a head coach, but just a guy in the building to make some things move. I'm all right with it.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I mean, that'd be crazy if he did go to the Cowboys after, you know, Dak got that huge contract extension, and it seems like teams are like they're not caring. They're paying these guys. We see it with the Falcons. They end up giving you know, Kirk Cousins a huge extension, and they still drafted Michael Penix in the first round. So it could possibly happen with the Cowboys. I could see that happening, and there's actually. There's actually a report here, too. Look, it says Cowboys, Deion says, a wild card to be a head coach of Dallas next year. Prime has a close relationship with Jones. This would be such a Jerry Jones move. So, yeah, their coach is on the way out. Me and Severe, we had like a flag on a play this week, and one of the flags on the play was Michael Parson literally like just throwing his coach under the bus. For no regard for human life, like he man, it was crazy. But Deion to the Raiders, I can kind of see it. I can see it happening. I mean, I think Mark would love it. Mark is the type of dude, he wants that type of coach. He wants that high profile coach, and you know. It could, you know, we'll see how the season goes. I think AP should get another year, but just because I think he should doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And I know that Deion and Shador have a relationship with Tom Brady. You know, that's a possible. You know, you could see if you start connecting the dots, you're like, like it could be a possibility that he goes to the Raiders. I mean, Severe, if you want to touch on this real quick, like. Do you feel like this is a possibility?
So I'll say, first thing I would say is that anybody that watched that Antonio Pierce presser earlier today, that did not look like the presser of somebody that was worried about getting fired. So
facts.
So just like I always say, right? Like people be like, oh man, I'm not scared of you. Just because you're not scared don't mean I won't beat your ass. Like that's what I always tell people. Like you ain't gotta be scared to get. So just because you ain't worried about getting fired, don't mean your ass won't get fired all the time. So, but that didn't strike me as somebody that had a conversation with the owner or the GM where there's like, you know, my job security is in trouble. So, and then just in terms of that, like, only way that happens is if the one thing that, you know, people have railed against occurs, and that is if Mark Davis meddles and makes it happen. Because Tom Telesco, under no circumstances will ever in a million years hire somebody like Deion to be the head coach of his team. Not happening. So, you know, Deion is too much of a personality. He's too much of a person that's going to, give pushback and like, hey, challenge him. And Tom Telesco doesn't look like a guy that's willing to engage in those type of verbal warfare. Nor do I think he's equipped to be able to get into a verbal battle with Deion. Like, very few people in the history of professional sports are, right? Like Deion, he's been cooking dudes since the 80s. So I don't think Tom Telesco wants those kind of issues. So I think he steers clear of a guy like Deion. He'll go, and Deion is kind of, he's older as well. So I think, the trend has been bringing in young guys, young offensive minds. Deion, like you're essentially hiring, like a more mature version of Antonio Pierce in that instance, right? Does he know defense? Yeah, he knows defense because he's one of the greatest defensive players of all time. But he's not, like, he's never really been a coordinator. He's been a head coach at the collegiate level, but he still doesn't know offense. So he still have to. A lot of your success is still dependent on you identifying offensive, coordinator that's going to have success. So I just think that it's, like, why do that? I don't think it happens.
That's an interesting point that you made about Telesco. But now that I think about it, how much power does Telesco have within this team? As time goes on, I'm like, I think Telesco, I don't think he has any. Maybe we all know that he's in charge of bringing in players to the team, but with Tom Brady coming into the fold, man, and with AP already being hired as the head coach before Telesco got there, you can't forget about that. Yeah. Kind of tells me that, like, hey, he knows what the deal is. Like, this is his second stint as a GM. GMs usually go away and don't come back after their first stint. They ever had a first stint and they were fired. They don't necessarily get rehired. That's why the Raiders hiring Telesco was such a surprise. So he probably knows what the deal is, and he doesn't have a lot of options other than going back into the front office, being a high-ranking scout or whatever the case may be. So I think you gotta think about, like, how much power does Telesco have? Like maybe I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about, because if it's such a situation where they get rid of AP as a head coach and they have to pick another coach, are the Raiders really going to trust Telesco, whose track record in picking head coaches is pretty bad. It's pretty terrible. From the Brandon Staley's to I think Anthony it was Anthony Lynn. You know what I mean? Yeah. We kind of took that decision out of his hands with hiring AP, but we'll see, man. We'll see how it shakes out, man. Deion Sanders, Shedeur, this is gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting.
No, very, very interesting.
Yeah, man.
But hey, look, but Shedeur, do you see Shedeur going in the top 5?
Yeah. Top 5. Number 1, I don't think number 1 necessarily, especially if the Jaguars stay at that 1. That they'll end up getting Travis Hunter right there.
Hunter. Yeah.
He'll be number 1 overall. He's the guy. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can pretty much play everywhere on the field, anywhere on the field, whether it's offense or defense. But Shedeur, barring any kind of other positions like a left tackle or anything else, he's looking at maybe like top 3 or even up to 5. That's my guess. Cam Ward, it remains to be seen, like, between Cam Ward and Shedeur. I think they're 1A and 1B, like Severe said. And a good combine, pro days, and things like that will kind of weed things out. But if I had to guess, he's a top 5 pick.
Okay, top 5 pick. I mean, I guess that's a perfect segue, man. It's that time, man. It's Extra Point, and this week's Extra Point is a breakdown of Shedeur Sanders. Just a second so I can set this up and put it on the screen. If you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. This is courtesy of East Coast Gridiron. East Coast
Gridiron. That's our guy right there, man.
Yeah, shout out to him for the clip. So let's go ahead and play this clip. And
I do want to put a little disclaimer out there before we get it started, man. Like, we've been all saying Shador Sanders is our guy. A lot of people, right? But there are naysayers. There are people that don't think he's the guy and can't get the job done. East Coast Gridiron kind of leans towards that way. So, as you know, our content creators, we got to show both sides of the coin here. So these
Right.
are for the people who are a little bit on the other side of Shador Sanders, not necessarily a big fan of his, but you can go ahead and ride it out, man, and we'll let East Coast tell the story.
A lot of people ask me why I think Shador is good and not great. Here's a good example. This is cover 3 man with a lone linebacker on a receiver. And how do I know that? What you're going to do is see this wide receiver in motion. The safety is going to follow. He's going to fake the inside zone here. But Shador's going to go up and hit this 10-yard hitch from Travis Hunter. There is a lone wide receiver here that when this linebacker stays stationary, he's going to get right up in between everybody because now the safety's out of position and he's going to get pretty much free with the speed. Now, if we watch this play out, again, watch the motion happen. Motion happens, fakes the inside zone. And look, we got our guy beat right here, hands up in the air. I mean, we also have this option in Travis Hunter. But as soon as I was to see the linebacker sit, why are we not hitting this guy downfield? Of course, Travis Hunter with his athleticism makes a guy miss and they get in the red zone. But here's the difference between good and great quarterbacks. That would have been a touchdown instead of in the red zone.
Hey, man, it seemed like some valid criticism there. But something that I would say you can improve on. Or do you think this is something that you either you have it or you don't? Severe, if you want to speak to that.
I mean, I think that's a situation where you either have Travis Hunter or you don't. So it's like, there are some situations where this happens with like, and it's like that's not a Shador Sanders problem. That's not, that's the problem any quarterback can have. Where if I have a player of that caliber, I'm looking for you all the time, right? And that's essentially how we want. Like, this is essentially how we want guys to treat Brock Bowers right now. Like, even if you cover, you open. Like, I'm finna get you the ball. I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna let you do your thing because I have that kind of trust in you. So I think it's one of those situations where we see the kind of relationship they have. It's been well documented on social media. It's been well documented by Dion. These guys are in constant communication all the time after the plays, after the game. Practices, they're always talking to each other, like, hey, I'm looking for you here. When you see this coverage, I need you to do this, need you to do that, like all that kinds of communication. So I think it's a situation where if he would went somewhere else, but not Travis Hunter, I'm like, this is probably a problem. But anytime you're throwing the ball to Travis Hunter, I can't have an issue with that. I can't have an issue with that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But Mike, what do you think about the comment that he just said right now? Shout out to East Coast gang Gridiron. He said that this is the difference between being good to great. You know what I mean? Or I just think part of being a great quarterback, a good QB, is decision making. Do you feel like he made the right decision by going with what Severe saying? You look for your number one option, your playmaker, or you go for that big play, that touchdown?
Yeah, and I understand the mindset, right? I understand the thought process. Especially in college right now, you're going to go to your superstar, your buddy, right? That's what it is. But that can't fly in the NFL. That can't fly in the NFL because everybody's that guy in the NFL. Let's just be honest, right? So as a quarterback, you got to look at that film and be like, I missed it. Yeah, I missed that, And there's nothing wrong with missing sometimes. It happens to the best of the quarterbacks. You can look at any film of any quarterback and be like, oh, he missed it right here. Even Patrick Mahomes misses him. Even Brady missed him, when he played, So I look at one play and I'm like, okay, yeah, you missed it. You still made a good throw. You still made a good throw to your superstar wide receiver. Now, yeah, if you could go back, you would go for that bomb. And maybe in the NFL, he loses that bias because he knows he has to find the right guy. He has to find the open guy. And that's my hope, that if he does become a Raider, he's looking at film and not just stuck on one guy. He's looking at an open guy. Now, if he grows that rapport with a Brock Bowers, then that might be something special because Brock Bowers is always open.
Right.
I mean, let's
Right.
just be honest. The man's always open, and that would be a special combination. But you would also hope that he finds the right guy. He finds a Trey Tucker in that situation, which will probably be a Trey Tucker in that similar situation. You find Trey Tucker streaking down the field for a touchdown. You're hoping that he has the maturity and the wherewithal to be like, okay, I'm going right here instead of trying to feed my buddy. So I think that comes with maturity, and I think he has it. I think he has the work ethic. He has some toughness. There's a lot to be said to have, that Hall of Famer, that dad that knows how to carry himself as a professional, has that pedigree. That is a lot to be said for that, because you already got a head start of how to become a professional, and you're good with Tom Brady too. Like, bro, this is all this. I couldn't imagine this not working out. Really, if we end up getting Shador, I don't see it not working out. You would hope in this situation he's looking at the film and he's willing to improve in that situation. That's what I would say. But shout out to East Coast Gridiron, man, breaking down the film perfectly, man. That, like, in a way I can't do it. This dude is on fire with that. So appreciate it. Thanks for letting us check that one out, man. And I know he's watching too. So shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, shout out to him. And I don't know if he mentioned the down and distance. I think that matters too.
That does.
Because I think you guys both make like valid points. Like every like Mike, you just said, like a lot of QBs will, every QB has misses on film. And then Severe made a good point about, like, hey, you got to go to your playmakers at the end of the day. But I also think that matters in down and distance too. If it's third down, I'm not mad at a QB going after
moving the chains,
a wide open number one option in Travis Hunter. You know what I mean? Or in years past, Devontae Adams. Now, currently, Brock Bowers. If he's wide open on third down, you go after him. If he's not open on third, you go after him. You know what I mean? But if that was like a second down play action, I'm like, oh man. That's part of decision making. You're like, you know what? Let's take this shot. You know what I mean? Let's see if he makes a play.
Right.
But yeah, man, a great breakdown for sure. Shout out to East Coast.
Yep.
All right, man. Make sure to clock in. Like I said, clock in, like the thumbs and like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let us know in the chat, man, how y'all feel about that breakdown. This possible scenario of Shador Sanders and Deion Sanders coming to the Raiders. Let us know in this chat. I'm gonna put out a poll too as well, and also John Gruden. I know that John Gruden, until he becomes a head coach somewhere or gets a job somewhere, he's always going to be connected to the Raiders. Just let us know, man. And I'm sure you guys are talking about it, so we appreciate everybody coming through. But let's get to one of my favorite parts of the show, man. It's NFL game picks.
Man,
and look, man.
We taking risks these days, bro.
Hey, look. I started off rough. I started off rough, man. But you know what? Hey, look, slowly but surely. I think this week kind of stalled out because me and Severe tied up. So I don't think I gained any ground this week. But let's take a look at like what we did this week. So Severe 8-5,
holding steady.
Steady. Also 8-5, and then Mike. He went for the home run. He went for the home run, but
he did. It was close, man. And those two games that he had picked, man.
Yeah.
3 if you count the Lions game, because you had the Chiefs, and that was almost upset. You had one more upset that almost came to be too. I forgot who it was. It was another one. I was like, that almost happened.
Yeah. But our season totals so far right here, Mike's 50-31. I'm 49-32. Severe is holding it down, man, 55-26. So, hey, still 8 weeks to go. 8 weeks to go, 8 games. I mean, not 8 games, but 8 weeks of NFL game picks. So we still have a chance. I still want to get it. I'm still holding out that I'm gonna get my hat, man. I'm still holding out. That's all I'm gonna say. But let's get into this week's game picks. Let's get into this week's game picks. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the screen here. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. Oh, my bad. It's at the screen. All right, so here we go. Okay, so first game on the right here on here is Packers and Bears. Mike, who you got?
My gut tells me the Bears can pull off this upset. I know they just got rid of the OC over there, kind of bring some new life, especially Caleb Williams. You know, you got the young rookie. You kind of have to protect him a little bit or unleash him, depending on what the situation was with the OC. But I just think the Packers. I gotta go with my actual brain here, and I have to roll with the Packers here, man.
No upset with this one? Come on, Mike.
No, not this one. Not this one. I gotta pick strategically, man.
Bear trying to set you up for failure.
Nah, not that one. We're not doing that
Hey,
one.
man. I'm trying to get this hat, man. I'm trying to get this hat by any means.
Yeah, go ahead and pick that upset, bro.
I'm one game. I think I'm one game behind Mike too. I'm 49-30. So man, it's getting competitive out here, but you got the Packers, man. I'm with you too, man. Packers, better quarterback, better team. Bears right now, they just fired their offensive coordinator. There's some turmoil going on with the team. You know, Caleb Williams and the veterans on the team are not really getting along, it seems like, which means I'm picking the Packers. Severe, who you got?
I could definitely see the Bears winning this game, actually, getting that interim
it's in Chicago.
boost. But I'm going with the Packers. I ain't going with the Packers.
Same thing, bro. Like, we understand.
I'm going with the Packers, man. You know, if the report hadn't come out of the people wanting Caleb benched, I might have picked the Bears. But after that came out, I don't see it. Caleb Williams he's not a very mentally tough person. So he's not the kind of person I see going out there, but I'm about to prove all of them wrong. He's Packers.
All right. Well, Jaguars, Lions, Mike.
Lions are on fire right now, man. You got to go Lions here.
Yeah. It's an easy pick, but you never know, man. You know, any given Sunday. But I got the Lions.
Yeah,
you got the Lions too, man. I want the Jaguars to win, even though I don't think they'll pick a quarterback. I want them to win because they're ahead of us in the draft order. But Lions.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Raiders and Dolphins.
Yes, sir.
Who you got, Mike?
Man. So 20 targets between the two tight ends. Like I said, I need to see the offense revamped, retooled. We got to see some life in that offense. But regardless, I don't think the Raiders got enough here. Early game against a tough offense. I got the Dolphins winning this one.
I got the Raiders, man. Man. I don't want them to win. I don't want to win just because I want them to secure that top spot. But for some reason, this coming off a bye, players got some things off the chest, new offensive coordinator, Michael Mayer coming back. You know what I mean? Might be a little bit of a boost. Hopefully they can get healthy as well because they got some, Nate Hobbs hopefully gets healthy this game. But, the Dolphins, they've dealt with their share of injuries, and I could easily see the Dolphins winning this game. I'm gonna pick the Raiders. This is gonna be my upset pick. Severe, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins, man. I think we talk about team meeting. Last time the Raiders had a team meeting was after they lost to the Panthers, right? And then they went right out there and they struggled against the Browns and barely beat the Browns. So
they won.
Yeah, they won, but I think the Dolphins are a better team than the Browns are. A better quarterback, better coach. I actually think Jonnu Smith has a pretty big game, and the Dolphins get us.
Got you. All right. I guess I'm gonna be the only one standing on the Raiders, man. Like I said, look, I was talking all that. Raiders need to lose and get that number pick. I want it to happen, but at the same time,
from Shador.
Thank you, God, for Shador for sure. Mike, Rams, Patriots. Who you got?
Man. We going with the Rams. They stay at 500. And we are rooting for the Patriots to win this game, to be honest with you. But I think the Rams squeak this one out, man, on the road.
Okay. Damn, this is tough, man, because Patriots is just like it's an ugly, weird team.
Yeah.
Man, it's in Foxborough. I wonder what the weather conditions are going to be like. That game might work in Patriots' favor too. The Patriots, I think, are solid defensively.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But the quarterback situation, you know what? I'm gonna go Rams. I'm gonna stick with Rams.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rams too. I think Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams. I mean, I think they have enough firepower to get to get past the Patriots. Drake May, he's still a turnover prone guy too. So, and Rams have a hell of a pass. It's like they have a hell of a pass rush going. Like
Them youngsters
Jared
over there,
Verse, Braden Fisk, like they got a hell of a pass rush going.
Yeah.
Byron Young, the good one. The good
one.
Young.
Yeah.
Browns Saints. What you got? Oh, hey, Byron Young. Not to cut you off, Mike. He's with the Patriots, right?
The other one? Oh, did the other one go to the Patriots?
He's with the Eagles. He's the Eagles. Never mind. Forget what I just said.
Oh.
Mike, it's on you. Browns Saints.
I got the Browns winning this one. I think the Saints are reeling. They're in trouble. The Browns got a good enough defense to get after Derek Carr, have him seeing footsteps and things like that, which we're used to seeing. Browns win, low scoring game. Upset, kind of an upset.
Yeah, this could go either way.
Yeah.
Go either way. Return of Jameis Winston. You know what I mean? He was the former backup QB. Started some games for the Saints. Probably didn't even get a fair shot at that quarterback spot too, as well. You can argue that.
True.
Man. You know what? I'm gonna go Browns too. Browns. What you got?
Yeah, man. I think the Saints. I think they shot their load last week. I think they are. They need to pop a Shay. They need the blue chew. They need to something because I don't think they're gonna be able to get up for this game. The Browns have a really good defense. I think Jameis Winston is good enough at quarterback. Both teams have serious lack of skill position players outside of running back. The Saints got Kamara, the Browns got Chubb, but I think the Browns. The Saints just lost Lattimore too, and I think for the most part they're checked out. So I'm gonna go with the Browns.
Man, you said Chubb and blow your load in the same thought process, bro. That is wild to me, bro.
I'm auditioning for Cam and Mace, man. I'm trying to get an appearance with Cam and Mace.
First of all,
man, that's wild, bro. Man.
This might be the game of the week, man. Ravens Steelers.
Oh yeah, no doubt. You know what I think? I think Lamar Jackson solidifies his MVP, his third MVP in this game, man. I got the Ravens winning this one. Lamar Jackson with a big game.
Okay. Man. I'm going Steelers.
Man.
I could go either. It could go either way. But I just feel like the Steelers, man. They
look good, man.
They got something special cooking up right now. But it's just like Ravens could easily win this game. Lamar Jackson, you can argue is one of the best. He's one of the best players in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And he's always making a play each game where he's like, oh my God, like it's he's just out there just playing backyard football. It's just he's on another world as far as. And I remember, I think it was it last week? Me and Severe, I think it might have been Severe. I think I sent you a clip of that run he had where he was rolling right and he was just on the sideline. He top right.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, how did you make that happen? He made something out of nothing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll go with Steelers. I guess this is gonna be my upset pick then. But they're at home.
Man.
They're at home too. But it's like I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, man.
I feel bad picking against the Ravens because it's like, damn, they're a good team. Like,
yeah, man. I feel bad picking against the Ravens too, but I think I'm gonna go with the Steelers as well. It's just because the Ravens have traditionally struggled against the Steelers, especially at Pittsburgh. For some reason, Lamar has not been able to get over this hump, and I think the Ravens are the better team. But I don't know, man. It's something about the Steelers right now, man. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. I think the offense is rolling. The Ravens have struggled mightily covering the pass. And I think George Pickens could go crazy that day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Deontay Johnson gonna go for like 500 yards and
possibly.
Deontay Johnson about to have the game of his life.
They said Mike Tomlin ain't even looking at him.
Exactly. It's like,
yeah. That's funny.
So, but yeah, I'm roll with the Steelers too.
All right, Steelers. All right, Vikings, Titans. Mike, who you got?
Oh man, you know what? I'm picking upset here, man. I need it. I got Titans beating the Vikings in Tennessee. Super upset. Probably upset of the year right here. Titans win by a field goal.
Man, I mean Titans. Did they have a chance to win in last week's game? I think it was a closer
Titans
game than
came
I thought
through for Mike. I think Titans came through for Mike, I want to say.
Did they?
They came through for Mike against the Patriots, I want to say. Drake May threw a late interception. And Drake May threw that interception in overtime, and they came through for Mike.
Yeah. You're right.
2 weeks ago.
Right.
Man, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, though. I don't know what they did last week.
Yeah. That was a battle of two bad teams. This is a battle of one good team and one bad team. I can't do it, man. I got Vikings. Who you got?
Yeah, man, I got to roll with the Vikings too. Even though Sam Darnold, that he's turning back into a pumpkin right before our eyes. That shine is, that makeup is wearing off in the rain like a mug. But
hey, don't sell the Titans defense short. That's a good defense.
Man, Jeffrey Simmons. The Titans. I want to say they're top 3 defense right now. Jeffrey Simmons is a monster.
Yeah.
Their secondary is playing good too, but.
Yep.
The Vikings got shot, and I think they got L'Jarius Sneed over there too. I want to say, I'm roll with the Vikings, man. Vikings.
Got you. All right, got Vikings.
This is a nasty matchup too, man. This matchup is disgusting.
Yeah, Colts and Jets. Who you got, Mike?
Man. I pick the Jets every week, and they let me down too, bro.
I know they let me down last week too.
Yeah, I'm still sticking to damn Jets. I think I hate the Jets more than I hate the Raiders these days, bro. Man, I'm gonna go to Jets one more week. I'm picking the Jets to win this game, man.
I feel you.
I got the Jets.
It's just the Colts. This is a weird situation. AR hasn't really looked the best this season. They're like a completely different offense when he's out there. It's like big player bust with AR.
Yeah.
But damn, when I was watching that Jets and Cardinals game, I was just they were moving the ball downfield. They just weren't finishing with touchdowns.
Yeah.
Once they got into the red zone and the Jets defense, I don't know what happened. Ever since Saleh went down, got fired, it's like they're a completely different defense. Like they made Kyle Murray too. Shout out to him, man. He looks like one of the best young QBs in the game. Like he's playing well. He's playing well.
Call of Duty and he playing football now.
Man,
yeah, for real.
Man, he's like, you know what? Let me take this stuff serious now. Shout out to Michael Vick because I remember he had a crazy comment during the interview where he's like, he basically showed up to games. Like he didn't really study game film until he got to the Eagles. I was like, God damn! Like all them years with the Falcons, like you was just that good of an athlete. Yeah, monster. But that being said, I'm going with the Colts. I can't do it. I can't do the Jets anymore. I hate them. I don't like them. I don't like Devontae Adams.
Man. Me neither.
Yeah, I'm on that same type of time. I do not like Aaron Rodgers. I do not like Devontae Adams. That's his nickname. Devontae Adams. Only person I like over there is Garrett Wilson, man. Hopefully he can get away from that team. I'm a roll. Man, I'm a roll with the coach too. I think that Anthony Richardson. I think he just runs a lot. I think he does. He runs for like 150 yards, bro.
Yeah.
And throws for like 88 and a touchdown, and runs for like 150 and a touchdown, and Jonathan Taylor does his thing, and they pull out a win.
Is Taylor back? Because I know he was hurt for a minute. So
he played last week.
He played last week. Okay, then that's big.
Yeah.
That's big. So
yeah.
That
helps.
That helps for sure, man. But it is in New Jersey, MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
So but forget the Jets, man. Falcons, Broncos. Who you got, Mike?
Michael Penix Jr.
might be the game
debut right here.
It might be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough debut though. I'll be honest with you.
It is.
Broncos got a defense.
Yeah, going to Denver first game, starting. That Falcons offense is rolling. I think they're rolling at the right time. I'm going with the Falcons here in a close one. I got the Falcons. Michael Penix wins his first game as a starter.
I hate to do it, but man, if Cousins plays somehow, I think it'd be a different outcome. But you know what? Denver lost a tough game against Kansas City, like real tough. I think they bounced back. I got Broncos.
I'm going Falcons. Bo Nix couldn't mess with Michael Penix in college. He ain't finna mess with him in the pros either, to be honest. You couldn't see me when you was at Oregon, brother. You ain't seeing me when I got these weapons. I think Bijan's gonna have a good game. I mean, I think Algier's gonna also have a good game. I think what you call it. We saw what Brock Bowers was able to do from the tight end position. He's playing like the best tight end in the league. But another guy that's every bit as gifted as Brock Bowers as a receiver, they got in an Atlanta uniform, and that guy's he's finally starting to. He had a great rookie season, and it's finally starting to click for him again this year. So I think that there's a lot of weaponry, and whether it's Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix knows what to do with that weaponry. So I think that coming off that disappointing game for the Chiefs, I think that the Broncos a little bit down. I think the Falcons, whether it's Penix or Cousins, I think they take advantage.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's just I believe in Michael Penix and the talent, but what I've noticed with some of these young QBs, which is understandable, is that they've all struggled early. Yeah. Some have figured it out. Some are still struggling.
Yeah, that's true.
Broncos got a real good defense. I'm not gonna lie, man. But hey, I can see the Falcons. It could go either way. But Seahawks, 49ers, this is a matchup here. Seahawks is on.
That one's always close. It's always close.
These next two games.
Yeah. Ooh,
that's true.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah. 49ers win this one. They're at home. I don't think the Seahawks are. I wouldn't say they're not good. It's just they just don't have enough. Eyes are on Geno Smith if he can get the job done. Is this his last year as a starter? We don't know. I'm going 49ers.
All right. Man, I guess I'm gonna be the guy this week, man, picking upsets. But I'm going Seahawks. They're on a losing streak against the 49ers. Players know it. The team knows it. I think 49ers don't look like the same 49ers team this year.
No.
Like, in the past, I felt like they were just so much better watching them on Sundays. I'm going Seahawks.
Ooh, I'm gonna go 49ers. They tried their hardest to give that game away to the Buccaneers. I think Mike picked the Buccaneers last week too. I think that was the other game. That was the other game Mike picked where he almost had that one. They tried to give that game to the Buccaneers, and it took Deebo Samuel slapping the long snapper for them to pull that game out. Man, but I can't say it because we on YouTube. But I can't say what they say Deebo Samuel outfit looked like.
Yeah.
I can't
What
stand
the
me too,
hell?
but
That shit was so
lemon,
weird.
lemon zest anybody.
oh
Man.
man, I cannot even go there. But I think they're getting their weapons back. Christian McCaffrey's back. I think he's getting into the swing of the offense. I think Ricky Purcell is kind of getting into the flow. Debo Samuel is back healthy. Brock Purdy I think he threw for like 350 last week. So I think the
George
49ers, I think that George Kittle, I think they have enough to pull it out.
Man, this might be you can argue this game might be the game of the week, possibly. Who knows?
Yeah.
Chiefs and Bills. Who you got, Mike?
Man, Bills in the streak.
Man.
I'm with you.
Yeah, Bills beat the Chiefs. Josh Allen has the game of his career. People are going to be talking about him in that MVP race. Not going to win it, but he'll be in the MVP race when this is all said and done. I got the Bills with an upset final drive versus the Chiefs.
Yeah. Chiefs are getting healthier, but they lost their kicker for the season, or he's on
That's
or
gonna
at least
matter.
he's on injury reserve, so that might be the difference in this game possibly.
Yep.
Chiefs haven't really been dominating. I mean, I know they're not 9-0, but it hasn't been a dominating 9-0, but they're getting healthy at the right time. But I'm going Bills. I don't think they're going to go 10-0. I don't think they're going to go undefeated. I feel like if there's going to be a game they lose, this is going to be the game to lose. And it's going to be in Buffalo.
Yep.
In Buffalo. So I got the Bills.
I'm torn between strategy and what I want to pick because I want to pick the Bills because I think as you said, I think Josh Allen he's tired of hearing this Mahomes stuff and not being able to beat Patrick Mahomes. I think Amari Cooper is back this week, but Dalton Kincaid is iffy for the game, and Keon Coleman is likely out, so that kind of gives me pause.
Oh, man.
But
yeah, that's true.
Man. Dang. I'm gonna go with the Bills, man. I'm gonna go with the Bills.
All right.
It's because you don't have that red hat on today, bro. That's the problem.
If you had that red hat, you'd be more bold. I'm telling you.
That was my upset pick was the Bills. I thought both of y'all was gonna go Chiefs. I was like, I'll stick with the Bills, but
nah,
just strategy. I was thinking about going Chiefs. But
yeah, no, I hear you. It's just they're 9-0, bro. Like, and they almost lost to the Broncos last week.
Yeah,
and
it's not a good 9-0.
Yeah.
They
should be 8-1 right now. They took a blocked kick. Like that's like
yeah.
But
you look at the bigger picture. Though. They should be like 4-5. I mean, like
really.
They've lost.
The Bengals should have beat
them.
A few teams.
Yeah. But you made some good points, man. That's some top receiving options. I mean, Dalton Kincaid, if he misses the game, on top of Keon Coleman, who's been a good receiver for them.
Yeah.
They are getting Amari back. So.
Oh, cool. Amari. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. They traded for him. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel good about my pick now. Appreciate it, bro. Bengals, Chargers, Mike. Who you got?
We going with another upset here, man. The Bengals almost had the Ravens last week. They let them off the hook.
They let him off the hook.
Yeah, they let him off the hook.
I got to get that for you. You got that?
Hey, do I got that? Hold on. Do I got that? Who? Oh, yeah, I do.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yeah, Bengals aren't letting that happen again, bro. They're not gonna let it happen again. Chargers lose. Bengals actually win this game big. To be honest with you, I think the Bengals win this game big. Joe Burrow gets busy. Bengals win.
Yeah. You got to think that Bengals are gonna make a run. They're gonna put it together because like they're just too. They got Joe Burrow, man. They got a quarterback who can really like get him somewhere. But it might not be this year, but as far as like to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to be the Bengals got to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or at least fighting for it. And I think it starts here by winning this game. And I got the Bengals too.
I'm going with the Bengals as well. Like this is one of those games where you got to throw the records out the window. The Bengals have lost some heartbreaking games. I don't know if T. Higgins is back. I think he's questionable, but there's a chance he comes back. Jamar Chase is coming off of a crazy game that he had, and I think that Joe Burrow, despite everything, Joe Burrow has been playing some damn good football. So I'm gonna roll with the Bengals as well. And I just hate the Chargers. I just don't like.
Yeah, I hate the Chargers too.
I don't like anything about them. I didn't like Harbaugh before. I hate him even more now. He's a Charger.
I know.
Yeah, facts.
I know. I think we can all agree on this last one right here, but I'm just gonna let it play out. Mike, who you got? Texans, Cowboys.
Oh man, yes. This game gets McCarthy fired. Texans win. Big.
Yeah. Who you got? I'm picking the Texans, so I'm gonna leave it at that. So who you got?
I'm picking the Texans as well. They should have won last week. There were some miscues. Like, I mean, C.J. Stroud had a Tank Dell wide open at one point in the end zone. He threw the ball late. He got picked over the middle. I thought Nico Collins was going to be back last week. I think they held him out for precautionary measures. I'm pretty sure he'll be back this week. I got C.J. Stroud. I'm sure he's pissed about that last game they lost, like mad, blamed himself after the game. He's been talking about it. I think he rights the ship, and I think they prove who the best team in the state of Texas is, and it is the Houston Texans.
Yep, facts, man. So that wraps it up, man. Game picks. I know. Hey, look, I have a good feeling, man. I feel like I'm gonna wait till next week, but I don't know, man. I'm
going undefeated. I don't know about y'all, man.
Yeah, you going undefeated? Okay, all right. Hey, look, you see, as the week goes on, as it gets more competitive, I'm telling you, man. I already know, man. Someone's
I already sent y'all the message to IG. Y'all can make y'all selection from there, man.
Got jokes, man. Hey, man, it's been a great show. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock out at this point. Like the thumbs. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff. Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, all that good stuff, and what to look forward to.
You guys know what it is, man. At the Severe Raider, YouTube, IG, Snapchat, TikTok, X, all that good stuff. Catch me every Friday night around the Shield with my brothers, PharoahNFL and Big Mike Raider. Also Tuesday nights, we do the 50-50 show. Also collabing with 805 and Chris from Protect the Shield. Chris been jet setting, man. He been on a cruise, so that's why we haven't been doing this show, bro. He sent me a picture. That dude was like in Cuba living his best life, man. He was been all over the world. So
what did they say? What did they say when teams get kicked out of the NBA playoffs?
Oh, 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This dude got his feet out in November, man. That's wild, bro.
That's hilarious.
This season is a wrap, man. So he's been doing his thing, man. So he's gonna come back. I think he said he's back Monday, so he should be rested, relaxed, and ready. Ready to talk some stuff, man. So it's being on the lookout for that. I'm also trying to find a day to do my own thing, man. I did the Luke Getzey live after that firing. Got some positive feedback from that, so looking to do some more of that stuff. But you guys always know where to catch me, man. Tuesdays or Fridays for sure. Make sure y'all catch some merch too. Let me cop some of that merch too. The link will be in the chat, and it's also in my description.
There you go, Mike. Man, let the people know where they can find you and what to look forward to.
Yeah, so Big Mike Raider, YouTube, IG, X. Had some real life situations go on for the last couple of weeks, but we're back. We're starting on Wednesday with the Big Elite podcast. That means Elite's back in the building too. So we're going to have that going. And if I can make it happen, I'm trying to get a Saturday show this coming Saturday. So hopefully if I can get some things right, you'll see me on Saturday right before the game. Wake Up with Wasted and Big Mike on Sunday mornings. We'll be in business. So yeah, man, that's what to look forward to. And, of course, right here around the Shield with my guys on Fridays, man.
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, pretty much, man. Around the Shield every Fridays. We drop episodes. Sometimes it's a pre-record. Sometimes we're live. But you make sure to hit the notification bell so be notified and let you know when we go live and all that good stuff. And like Severe said, man, we do the 50-50 show every Tuesday evenings, nights. And, yeah, man. We'll see what happens this week, man. Like we kind of, I think the main focus here is that we just want to see a little bit of progression with some of the younger players. We want to see a youth movement. We want to see some level of improvement on things that were a weakness early on in the season. The Raiders are coming off a bye. It's going to be interesting to see what Scott Turner does with this offense. I picked him. I was the only one to pick him.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, man.
And this happened I feel like this happened one other time where the Ravens and they got the W. So
they did.
We'll see what happens this weekend.
We might. Okay. I don't want them to win, but yeah.
But
might
yeah,
be on
man.
to something, bro.
But yeah, also check out the 50-50 shop, man. We got some Raider gear, 50-50 gear, all that good stuff. Definitely go over there and check us out. And the link will be in the chat, the bio. Also, Around the Shield on social media, mostly on X and IG. So definitely check that out. You get Raider updates, clips of the show, all that good stuff, man. Definitely check us out and follow us there. But yeah, man, I think that should be it, man. Hey, look, on the way out, man, if you haven't already, clock out, like the thumbs, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Any last thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, I got one final message for y'all, man. Just so can y'all see that right there?
This dude got jokes.
Get out of here.
A-frame snapbacks, man. That's I'm gonna put it out there. I'm just put it out
7
there.
and 5/8, man. That's what I'm saying, man.
There you go. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week, man. All right. Peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.